Welcome, everybody. A happy Monday to you. Today we have Sherry Amernick from Mackin, who is going to share with us about the services that Mackin offers to public libraries. Sherry has been a longtime partner with WiLS, and Sherry, you may be talking a bit about Mackin and your history with our with K-12s, but we've worked with Mackin for many years in the K-12 market. But a few years ago, we worked out a partnership with public libraries. So we're excited to share this with you today. Hopefully as a to fill the void that is being left by Baker and Taylor leaving the market for some of you. So I will turn it over to you, Sherry, and welcome.
Thank you. So as Sarah mentioned, we've partnered with WiLS for many years. Mackin has been around for over 40 years working with mostly school libraries. So our expertise is definitely in the YA, children's, and STEM. So that's what we do the most work with because we've worked in that space for so long. And we're excited to work with more public libraries. So I'm going to share my screen. And please chat in any questions. I'm a very casual presenter and happy to help answer any questions. And we really like to partner individually. So I'm giving you a broad overview today, but definitely as you're like, I wonder how this would work for me, feel free to chat it in. But if it's a larger conversation, let's schedule another meeting in the near future with just your specific library and we can answer those questions. I just chatted my email into the chat, and then it's also in the email that Sarah sent out in regards to this webinar. All right, so minimize my screen here. All right, so if you go to mackin.com, you don't have to do it right now. You're welcome to if you want to, but mackin.com, on the first page, there's a library heading and you can choose public libraries. That's what I'm going to go through and add a little bit of commentary today, and then I'm going to show you how to search for some of our resources. I had some conversations about public libraries this morning and about some of the challenges that you're all facing with Baker and Taylor and some of the other vendor options that you've probably been looking at. And I've heard that some vendors for distribution are very backlogged where you wouldn't be able to get set up for many months. So one thing I do want to say is rest assured you could place an order today with Mackin. We would verify that your specs are okay, but we can get them out. We can get you set up right away. So we're not worried about that setup process. We work with something like 60,000 schools. So it's not a big burden for us to set up a public library. We would do it similar to how we've done it with schools. So MackinPublic libraries. Some of the things that you will find with Mackin is that I'm just going to turn off my really loud heater for a second. Let me try again. So with Mackin, we have 4.2 million print and digital titles. It is okay to order print or digital or both from Mackin. You don't have to order one or the other. You can do whatever you need. We work with about 18,000 publishers. This is great because we can get often more foreign language titles than others because we're small enough to be nimble. And if you're like, I work with this publisher, is there any way you can get materials for them or from them? We can usually do that. We have audiobooks, databases, read-alongs, fiction, nonfiction, custom cataloging. So that's something that is always good to talk about because we do the standard processing for free. So that's something that a lot of public libraries haven't had before, where we have it all shelf ready. We do your MARC records. We are able to do Library of Congress MARC records. So all of that is in standard pricing for us. And then we also do genre services. So that there's a lot of different things we can do in genre. So that's probably, if you have more genre questions specific to your space, that would be a good reason to schedule a virtual or in-person meeting with me. I'm located personally in the Green Bay area, but I cover the entire state. So I'm happy to help. And then we don't always have to meet in person. We can do a virtual meeting, but we have options. I started to mention that the MARC records are free, standard cataloging and processing is free, and then we ship to the entire country, which definitely Wisconsin. Our distribution is pretty fast, especially because we're located in Minnesota. So we're in our friendly Minnesota nice neighborhood. And we order just in time. So that means when you place an order from us, we reach out to the publishers, place that order, and then we curate them within Mackin's walls so that we can get them to you easily. So it's not instant. It usually takes about 30 days if we're doing all the cataloging and processing to get those first book orders. And then the second one is usually in about that 45-day window. And we do hardcover manga. So that's something that you might not have seen before as well. So hardcover manga is our pre-bounds. And we do a hardcover in a lot of different things. So Mackin Via is our digital platform. If you might use Sora. I know that's most common in the public space, but if you're looking for alternatives, we win awards on Mackin Via often. And this is also something that if you'd like to get into specifics for your library, the platform itself is free. There's no subscription to have it. You would only buy the content. So we can go into that a little bit more if that's something that's important to you. And then here's this Mackin bound pre-bound that I mentioned briefly. That is our hardcover, and Mackin's hardcovers open flat. And why that's a benefit is if you're reading manga titles, you can read them backwards without losing any of that content. And we guarantee the book for as long as it is in print. So we'll just replace it for you. And there's not actually even forms to do that. It's just an email to our customer service department. They'll ask you the title, the barcode, and they'll get it replaced for you if you run into any difficulties. That customer service is definitely where Mackin shines. If you talk to other Mackin customers, they will almost surely tell you that we have your back. We've partnered with libraries for such a long time. And most people that you work with at Mackin are certified librarians. So if if you have questions, even if it's not specific Mackin related, you can even ask us that and we will find the answer for you. All right, so I found all of that information from library down to public libraries. So if you are looking to refresh your memory in that area, that's where I found that information that I just walked through with you. Now to log in and to browse, I highly recommend that you create a Mackin.com account so that you can shop around, even if you're not looking at buying something yet. That way it'll just let you curate titles and it gives you more functionality, and it takes you about 2 minutes. You could even do it right now if you want. If you go to Mackin.com where we just were and click log in if you have a login. Otherwise, you can click create an account, and that would be a really great thing to do today. So it was Mackin.com and then create an account. And then if it's your first list that you're making, you'll have a button here that says new account because this isn't my first list. I have a shopping cart and I can go down and click new list. So I'm just going to say test list. And I'll say public library. The description, you'll always want to choose library for circulation. That tells us how to process your books. It's really easy. And if you forget anything, please send a message to me or customer service. We are all happy to help. Even though there's a good chance that I am your personal rep for it. If I'm at meetings and things, we don't want to hold you up at all. You can work with anyone at Mackin. We are all a team and happy to help. But library for circulation just means that we're going to process your books with your barcodes, labels, everything that you want on it, if you choose us to do that. Some public libraries have a cataloging team and they choose to do that by themselves. That's okay. We still usually have you choose library for circulation because we'll have a note on your account saying that what you want for library circulation is not for us to do anything. All right, so some of the things that I've heard feedback that are very important to you is just the ease of creating lists and searching for titles. So you can type in, this is set up to be super intuitive. So if you're looking for a title, you can usually find it pretty easily. You could click under top titles. There's all kinds of quick browses for you, but we also have tools built in where, for example, where it says keyword up here, we could choose Mackin title lists. This is where our master librarian team puts together a list for somebody or some organization and says, oh, I bet this would help for someone else too. I mentioned manga before, so let's click that. So if I type in manga, it's bringing up these different titles that were created for someone else, but that would be a great starting point for you. So for example, if you were looking for middle school manga titles, I just click on it and it pulls it up for me. We also have title match. So if you decide to work with Mackin, we'll help you export your records into Mackin. So we'll see your whole MARC record database and it'll show us if you have something in your collection. I'm connected to a lot of different collections right now. So when I look at my title match, I'm going to see a lot more matches probably than most people. But then when I click on it, it shows me that I already ordered that title. So maybe I don't want to order it. But maybe I do. Maybe I want a duplicate of it. But it's super easy to add. All you have to do is click this add to list, and it's on my list. If I wanted to click on the title of a book, it'll show me. In this case, I chose Mackin Bound. So this Mackin Bound, that means that it's that hardcover that Mackin can create for you. But if you were looking at more of a budget, for example, you could click paperback, and then you could add that instead. All right, also very exciting is if you go up to browse titles, same idea, we curate all these different lists for all of these different organizations throughout the country and beyond. We actually do Department of Defense lists as well. You can go under browse titles and you can choose under review journals, all of these different review journals. So I'm going to choose library journal. I know that's a popular one. And I can see the latest issue of library journal. All of the books that were listed in that library journal are here. So I could click starred reviews and then I could just check what I wanted. But I can also further sort. So right now, this one is 10 through, and the interest level is grade because we do so much with schools. So it's going to be 10th grade through young adults. So I could sort it that way. And then it comes up with the digital and print versions. So if I was ordering digital, it'll always say Mackin Via. And if I was ordering print, it would show me here what kind of print it is. If you're only ordering one or the other, we can turn that off in your profile. So if you're only ordering print and you don't want to accidentally order an ebook, we can turn it off so that that doesn't happen, or vice versa. If you're just looking for digital, we can help you with print. And then if I click the title of any of these books, I know that there are reviews with them. And I can go here and I can choose reviews and see the full text review. It's also possible to easily export them if you need to show someone what the reviews are. That's getting a little bit into the weeds. So again, if there's anything I'm mentioning that you think you'd like to dig into deeper, send me an email and then we can address that. Usually that's more common in like Texas and Florida. We haven't seen too much of that around here, but if you need it for some reason, we can definitely help you with that. Also, if you happen to be in a public library that has multiple locations, you can very easily add a book to more than one location. And that's something we could set you up. So if you happen to be ordering for this location and this location, you can easily just add the quantities there. And then you could also, under title lists, you could click search all. And there's also Mackin recommends. You might have seen some of those. You can see our award lists. So these, again, are all created by master librarians and great places to start if you're working on ordering things. And then you could also do world language. As I mentioned, Mackin does a lot of world language, and Spanish is definitely our most common. We have a foreign language team who does a great job curating authentic Spanish. So you have all these lists, and I'm just randomly picking some books to put on a list so that we can look at that. All right, so if I go into this current list of all these things that I've been checking, now I can click on title match and anything that I already have in my collection will come up to the top. So then I could opt to erase it if I wanted to. Maybe I don't want another copy, or maybe I do. So that just kind of gives me that second look. And then grade level and interest level, I usually choose that too. So if I was ordering for a children's department, I usually just click on it to make sure that I don't have anything too mature in that area. So I usually click grade and interest level to make sure that it is all looking good. And then I can also look at this list summary. So if I go in here, this shows me what's on the list. So if I was looking for how much fiction, general fiction, graphic novel, this shows me a breakdown of what I currently have on the list so I can decide if I want to order. Most schools do have, I'm sorry, most public libraries have electronic ordering, which is fine. We can set that up. It's up to you. So with electronic ordering, whatever is on the list gets ordered, so we can't make any substitutions. If you did an option where you wrote a purchase order instead, you could always give us a do not exceed number. And what that does is say you have exactly $2,000 to spend, but you put $2,400 worth of titles on the book. We would order up to that 2,000, and if something got short shipped from a publisher, we would go to the next the next book and the next book. So that purchase order option it gives us a little more flexibility to make substitutions, where if you're using the digital ordering, we have to be exact with what is shipped to you. So if you ordered paperback and paperback is out of stock, then that book would fall off, and which I think is probably what most of you are used to so far. All right, I'm just going to check this. Okay, yep, hardcover manga is definitely a popular Mackin thing. All right, I'll pause for a second and see if there are any questions. I know I'm going through a lot of information. I'm just trying to hit what I think will be the most helpful for you. Okay, it looks like we're caught up for the most part. Oh, and I was just going to say, while we're waiting, I'll talk about discounts because that's always top of mind. So the link to Mackin on the WiLS website mentioned the education discounts. We do absolutely offer public library discounts, but there's a little bit more complexity in it. So you'll get a WiLS discount from it, but it will be something that we'll have to meet to talk about because it'll depend on the way that we're priced right now is to include standard processing and that kind of thing. So it's a little bit more unique and personalized, but there will absolutely be a great discount for being part of WiLS. Yes, so Crystal asked if we have a book list like the library journal. So I'm going to pull that back up. Under browse titles, under review journals, I just put book list here. And that will give me the book list. And I don't recall if I showed you that that covers the last year of issues. So it opens up to the most recent issue, but then you can go back and if you're like, I didn't see book list in June, you can click this here. And then you can see that area. And just like that. And Crystal said, I love this too. Or I love this. And I say, I love this too. It's always a huge win when librarians see the review journals. And then one thing I want to point out is that we don't have any in Wisconsin specifically right now, but that we can add them. We have a really responsive library team. So if you go in browse titles and under title list, we choose search all. And there is something that you want that isn't there, we will get it for you. So we have the national awards, the things that we see the most, all the ALA awards and that kind of thing. But we also can do things by state. So if I go through and choose Wisconsin, We have a lot for school libraries, but we could also do different. If there's a library recommended list that someone curated throughout the state or specifically in your area, we could pull that in there. For example, if I look at district lists, I have specific lists that were created for Eau Claire, Kenosha, Madison, and Milwaukee. So if there's a list that you wanted put in there, you could tell us, and then we would put it in there. And that would be, yes, perfect, like the WLA notable books. I'm actually going to make a note and ask for them to put that in there right now. But it might actually be there. So I'm going to, I don't think it is, but for example, if you go to this Mackin title list, like I did before, this is where I found manga. So I could browse through this title list area that I'm in right now, or I could just type in. So if I typed in Madison, for example, instead of going through that path and finding it, it pulls up all of these lists that we created specifically for the Madison Metro School District. So if I type in WLA, we do have it up to 2024. So then when I click that, it shows me this award list, and then I can just add these books if I choose. And I can tell they're great books for a couple of reasons. First of all, because it's an award list, but second of all, because it has this little flower on it. And anything that has that flower means that it's the best of Mackin. So for it to become the best of Mackin, it needs to be highly reviewed from a professional journal and then handpicked from our librarians. So we know it's a good one. Also, if you were ordering titles the way that we mentioned, where you were ordering, for example, with a purchase order. So that example where I said you have $2,000 to spend and you put $2,200 or something on the list, you could change the priority from A to B, and we'll fill the A's first. And then if something short ships, we'll fall to the B priorities. A lot of people choose not to even use that because if something doesn't ship, we automatically can create a list for you of everything that didn't ship, and we can put it on the next order for you. So there's a lot of customization we can do for that.
Sherry, there's a question related to the multiple selectors for a particular library. Are there different levels of permission? So could some selectors set up lists, but only a few could actually place the order?
That is a good question. So what we would do if you set up an order, or you set up a Mackin.com account. There's a lot of different ways that libraries handle this. And it really ends up to be whatever works the best for you, we will support. So we work with, based on your email address is how you're logging in. Even if you cover 5 different schools and we have your email address and you're the one that submits the order, you can set it that way, and we can, and that you would only be able to place the order because you would be able to generate that purchase order. Or if you were in a, I'm saying this in a confused way, so let me take a step back. So imagine you are the person who can place orders that have the checkbook access, we'll call it. Our accounts payable will set it up so that only those people can submit a digital order. So the people that are not set up, I'm going to relate it to schools. So for a big school district, let's talk Chicago. Anyone can create a list in Mackin.com, and anyone can create a list in Mackin.com, no matter what kind of permissions you have. But in order to submit that digital order, it would have to go to their clerk or their bookkeeper, and those are the people that could actually submit it because they're set up in their accounting system. So however you are set up, we'll be able to set it up that way. But one thing that is related to this, if you have multiple locations, and I know you're just saying multiple selectors, but if you had multiple locations, sometimes we'll see an account set up with just your library name, and that's fine too. So if maybe it's not an actual valid email address, if I was like Sherry Public Library at whatever domain, that will still connect you to your library. So sometimes people do a general email like that, so that if somebody leaves or joins, that they don't have to create a new Mackin account. Does that answer your question, Charles? Perfect. Okay, and then Lynn asks, how do you transfer lists from a selector to the person with that checkbook access? And that is super easy. All we would do is go into your list, and this manage dropdown, there's a forward option. And then you would put that person's email address in. They do have to have a Mackin.com account to see it because it's set up with that checkbook access, and our customer service team will set that up for you. But I'm going to just send it to myself. I'm not set up in the way that I have a checkbook, but you can see that it turned green when I had the wrong email address. It wouldn't go through. So once I see it's green, I know that I have an account, and then I could say, please submit this order. And then that would go into my bookkeeper or checkbook person's account. And then they would find it under my account, my lists. And then they would see that I forwarded that to them. And because they have that checkbook access, when they open it, they would see an extra little checkout option in the top right-hand corner. And also, we would make it very easy by doing some screenshots and a flyer for you to share with whoever needs to see it. But it's a pretty simple process. It's just
Sherry,
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead and finish your thought.
Oh, I was just gonna say there's just always a little like learning curve of, oh, it's a new vendor, what to do. But that is where we provide as much customer service as you need. So that checkbook person could just call me and I could walk them through that so that they don't feel that overwhelmed.
Thank you. I have a question that this is kind of a forward-thinking question. Well, actually, Jennifer is asking what I'm asking. Do you offer notifications or lists for upcoming releases for select series or authors? She also says, is that customizable for selectors to review or modify on an ongoing basis, similar to B&T's standing orders? And what my question was specifically, in terms of adult titles, do you offer those currently on a just-in-time basis, or is that something that you may be developing and expanding your adult title offerings?
Sure. That is a discussion I just had this morning with the team. In preparation for this, I figured we'd be asking about adult because our focus and expertise is definitely YA and children's, and that we're unsure on how much we're going to do in the adult market because we'll have to load all of those books into Mackin.com. It sounds like it'll be something customizable where if it's super important to maybe a smaller library that they just have one vendor, that we can work. A lot of those publishers are the same publishers we already work with. It's just the challenge of, do we want all of those in Mackin.com, where so much of our business is K-12 and we don't want some ordering the wrong thing by accident. So there's ongoing discussions about that, but kind of in an urgent matter that we know that that's going to be a question that comes up a lot. And then as far as the customization of a list that is created, if you can absolutely customize it. So you could ask our librarians to create a list specifically for your school. They'll use your MARC records to see what you have in your collection and make recommendations. So imagine this list that I forwarded to myself was a list like that. I could just remove things, and then I could also add things. So if I went into browse titles, best of Mackin, maybe I just want to choose middle school. I can easily add these, and as I add them, they're just adding to that list. So it doesn't matter who created that list, it's definitely able to be adjusted. And then, and I'll answer more of that question from Jennifer. Sarah, did my answer for the adult content make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
And then Lynn popped in a question about standing orders for YA and juvenile series specifically. If you
perfect.
do,
Okay. Yep, yep. So we for standing orders, we do not do that. We are just not set up for it. We tried it about 10 years ago and it just did not work for us. So unfortunately, that one we don't have. And that is for anyone who might not be as aware of it. So if there's like a new release coming in where we order it and then we have it all set up and ready to go, so that it's on your shelf, but by the time it releases, it was too we have too many school orders that are going, so it just was something that didn't work out, and it does not sound like that's going to change, so we won't have that standing order option. We are able to do ongoing orders and recommendations. So as far as those notifications and lists for upcoming releases, we do some of that and we can do more of it. So if you as we're doing more and more in the public library, the more requests we get, the more we're going to do them. So as far as if you in your public library wanted us to create a list every month or whatever your cadence is, we would do that specifically for you for upcoming releases for whichever series or whichever authors you want, because that data we already have. So you could even ask us to create a list of everything that's coming for the rest of 2025, and we would be able to create that for you. And we would do that. If you wanted to request that, you can go to library and then library custom list request. So that is where you would go for anything where we're creating a custom list for you. So it's under library, library custom list request. It says school information, but it's fine. They'll probably just change it to library information. And then in list specifics, you can choose, this is just for the list we're creating, and it does not mean that you're blindly accepting it. But if you needed $2,000 of graphic novels, or maybe you just wanted number of titles, maybe it was you want the next 50 new releases or whatever the request is, this is completely customized. It's not automated. It goes to our team of certified librarians. And then you could choose whichever grade levels you're trying to cater to, and then put check marks in whatever you're looking for us to create that custom list for you. And I always say to act this for the specific request area, to write it like an email because it's going to that team. So if you're like, I just want this, all of the upcoming releases from these authors, you could put that in there. Or I want authentic Spanish, or I want bilingual, or whatever it is, you can put that in there and they'll create the list specifically for you. And there's also the option for series fill, and that would be they would look at your current collection and make recommendations for everything that you're missing. And then you would just, on the next page, you'd rank whichever format type you prefer, and then they'll create that list for you. Oh, thanks, Sarah, for the library custom list request. Any other questions of anything we've looked at so far? All right, I'm just going to see if from the last public library meeting question, I wanted to make sure that we covered everything. We talked about the onboarding and process timeline. I just want to reiterate that there are a couple public library vendors who are very full right now, where that onboarding takes until January is what I heard, but that is not the case with Mackin. We can place an order right away. We just need to set up your specs, and you can set up your specs by going into My Account and Specs, or if you have it that you can export from your current system, we can look at it there. It's also a great idea for you to export your MARC records, and that's something we can help you with as well. And what it does is it just makes it so that if you're shopping on our site, that you don't accidentally purchase something you already have, and if we're creating a list for you, that we don't suggest a title that you already have. So under collection analysis, you can send your records. And again, we're going through so much, so I encourage you to set up a one-on-one meeting with me and we can talk specifically for your site. But under Send Online, there's this online file transfer that you can take your Mark Record file and send it to us. Super easy to do. It just makes the shopping experience easier when you're purchasing books. And if you're not sure how to do it, underneath that, there's export instructions. So if you have, for example, Polaris, it just explains, it looks more complicated than it is because it's giving you every single set that you need to do. So from the menu, you go to export. So it'll export, or that'll just walk you through exporting your records. We do genre specs. There is a small cost for doing genre stickers that's outside of the standard processing. And again, something that will let you know what that looks like before doing anything. And if you purchase books from Mackin, so say you place the order and you forgot to do your specs with us, our team will reach out and help you with it. We'll walk you through setting it up. So if I go my account and specs, it'll walk you through and our form will explain things as it goes along. But if you have questions with it, I always thought the specs was the most confusing part of library. I get it now, but if you're like, I don't know how to answer these questions, don't stress about it. Just connect with customer service and they'll ask you the questions. And they'll also show you that there are places we can pull that information out as well.
Sherry, there's a question about exporting MARC records. Does it look at the individual library holdings? Because a lot of people on the call are part of a larger library system. In fact, I would say most are.
I will ask that question. Let's see, what is it? What is the system that most are in? Is it Polaris?
Oh, it's a variety of systems. I see some South Central libraries in here. I see owls. So in Wisconsin there are 15 public library systems and all of the libraries belong to one of those 15.
Got it. I'm just going to ask that question because I'm still learning. Let's see.
And some of them within those systems share a catalog, so they're coming in. So some are using Circe Dynex, the Moore Library Consortium with Sierra. It looks like, I don't know if you can see this, but I can capture these.
Oh,
they're all sharing.
Perfect. Okay, that's helpful. I'm just going to save that chat and then I'm going to take all of this information and I'll send a follow-up to Sarah through, or to WiLS, to, I'm guessing Sarah will be the one to send it out. But anything that I'm just learning that I don't have a straight answer on, I'm taking good notes and we'll follow up with an answer for it.
Yeah, I know you will. You're so good at that. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Then switching gears, Sarah is asking how billing works.
Mm-hmm.
Talk
I
about
see
that.
it. Yeah, definitely. We are super customizable is going to be my answer for a lot of things, including billing. So you can pay with a credit card, but you don't have to. So you have options. You could pay with a credit card if that's how your library does it. You can do a PO, and that would be like, we promise to pay. So you're placing the order and then we'll send you an invoice. We only send you an invoice for what shipped. So sometimes if you receive most of your order in one shipment and then you get the rest later, we'll send you an invoice for those that shipped, so you don't have to work with credits and debits. Or you can, there's just basically however you're making it work right now, we can make it work that way. And then there's a very common digital ordering where it goes through the EDI system, I think it's called, and then that creates a purchase order on our end, and then we just send you an invoice when it ships.
Sherry, I have a question. And maybe you said this and I didn't catch it. Do you work with other formats besides print and digital? Do you do periodicals, um, uh, physical, audio books?
We do not. For the most part, we are just print and digital. There's some books that are a little unique, like Wonder Books. Actually, Wonder Books is sole source now, but there's a book that I think it's Video Go Go or something where it's a screen. So there's some
Yep,
unique ones within that print space, but that's as far out as we get. And then makerspace products, but we don't do periodicals at all.
perfect, thanks.
Perfect. And then I see Sarah Swanson asked, "Is there a fee to pay by credit card?" And I joke that I'm brand new. I've only been here for like 10 years, and I don't know. So I will check on that and then get back to you. I don't think there is because I've never heard of it, but and because I'm not as connected to billing, it's possible. So I'll make sure to put that in my notes to Sarah. And then Crystal asked, "How do we set up an appointment with you if you'd like to?" And Sarah Gold just wrote my email address, which is perfect because my schedule fluctuates a lot. So if you just send me an email saying you would like to meet, let me know if you prefer in person or virtual, or if you don't have a preference. And then if you have a typical day of the week that you have more availability, we'll get it scheduled. And then Anne asked about the discount. She said currently get 25 to 44% off of most titles with the vendor. Is Mackin able to meet that generally? There are some different factors involved. I am inclined to say yes. I think I've seen that before, but it depends on whatever the partnership looks like. And I don't get a say in the discount. I would give it to everybody all as deep as I could go. But it's probably going to depend on how much service as far as processing and things that you need.
Yes, and I can step in, Ann, and say that I'm not sure. I know some titles receive, if you are a WiLS cooperative purchasing member, I think the discounts go up to 45% in some cases. And again, there are a lot of factors, as Sherry said. But I think those are especially for WiLS cooperative purchasing members per our contract with Mackin. So the answer is yes, and I think.
Mhm. That's a good answer. I like that. And I should mention that when you log into Mackin, you'll see prices automatically. And that, so if, say, we said the discount was 25%, it would be off of list price, not that Mackin price. And you wouldn't have to do research to figure it out because we would build it into your profile. So right now you have Mackin.com pricing if you log in. But once we get it set up to, like whoever, I'm just going to say checkbook, and whoever's placing that order, it'll be so that it prices automatically on whatever that discount looks like. We'll code it into your account, and then everyone that has your domain will see your actual pricing. So you won't have to do the math or a discount code. And Sarah, that's different than, well, some schools do that already on the education side, but I believe in public we'll do that all the time where we just build it that way so that the discount's automatic.
Got it. Thanks.
Good questions. We have until 11. I've been known my whole life for talking too fast, but I also like to give time back if it exists. So I'll hang out for a little bit longer in case anyone has questions. But Sarah, if you're okay, unless you have some closing words, I've covered everything on my agenda.
Great. No, so what happens next, for people that are on the webinar, we will go ahead and send, create a link to the recording. And then we will follow up with the specific, automation system catalogs, and questions that you had for each of the consortia. And we can, um, include any additional information that that Sherry wants to include, and that will all come in an email in the next couple days. And then if you have questions about if you have a question as to whether your library is a cooperative purchasing member, you can reach out to me at coop@wils.org. It looks like Nicole
I see it.
has, okay.
So Nicole asked for EDI orders, how does entering funds or things like notes look per title? It's actually the notes, we always look at notes first. So let me just pull this back up. Oops, I did not mean to pull up the email asking about the circulation. All right, so in your list, there's notes that you can enter per title right there. And then anything as far as the EDI ordering, any special requests that you need, our customer service team will help you, but you can absolutely add a note per title right there. And while you were going through it, you could also have clicked a note here. I always think it's easier to do it after I have everything so I can sort things, and everything on that list is sortable.
Thank you. And thanks, Nicole, for bringing up the question about EDI orders. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, I did my slow count to 5. So I think we're good for now. And Sherry, I just want to thank you so much for coming today and sharing all of this information. I know you've got to be very, very busy. But we can vouch for the availability of Sherry and the team behind her. You will never not get a call back, and you will never have to, to wait the 3 to 6 month timeline to get in. So we appreciate it, and I will follow up with you, Sherry, after the call, and we'll get our questions in line. And thanks everyone for joining us today.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thanks, everyone.